It's been a busy few weeks, lots of laundrette trips, moving out of our house.
Week 3 of semi-van life.
Interruptions.
Well, we just got the knock.
Award ceremonies. Many Air BnB cleans. Oh, and more laundrette trips. Retro advert parodies. Some scary country roads.
Oh.
Dishwasher fixes. And loads of fun. Lots of washing up. Building planters for the veggies. Mysterious broken glass panels in our house. And sweeping up in a party dress. End of year performances. But let's turn back the clock and go back to a park up from a little while back now. Port Solent. Essentially a car park next to a marina, but with some beautiful vantage points, including the Roman Portchester Castle.
So we're away again. It's Air BnB week 2. Only one day this week, but my goodness, what a day for us to be away in the motorhome. It's a busy one. Yesterday, long day trip into Reading was exciting, lots of driving, knowing that full well we had to make the house look like it was a palace today. But of course, there were 2 birthday celebrations, a yoga assessment, not for myself, but one of my good friends has qualified, and she was having her assessment today, and it was brilliant. And a couple of other things thrown into the mix, such as a drum lesson and making sure the kids got to various places at various times, because we only have our smallest child this evening, because both older boys have opted to go and have sleepovers elsewhere. So you could probably see the tops of yachts and boats in the background in Port Solent, which is where we're staying tonight. Not far over there is Portchester Castle. So Port Solent, there's a telephone number where you can book your overnight stay. It's completely free. So we are one of several motorhomes staying there tonight. And we've just rocked up, said hello to a fellow motorhomer, and we're taking Sammy on a little walk. Now, many vlogs ago, we did park outside Portchester Castle. I think it was something to do with a niffy smell that we had, probably in the first year we owned a motorhome. But we haven't actually gone round Portchester Castle with you guys, and it's a really interesting castle, so we'll have to do that vlog at some point. But it's owned by English Heritage, and yes, it's a Norman keep, but around the outside you've got this Roman wall, so it's got some ancient parts to it too. So what is Port Solent? Well, Port Solent is a leisure complex, I suppose you could call it. It has a very large David Lloyd swimming pool and gym. There's accommodation, there's residential housing, there's the docks and moorings for various different boats, and you've got your shopping complex as well, but it's not enormous, it's very boutique-y. But there's also a large cinema too, and lots of eateries, so it's quite a popular destination for people to go to, and I actually prefer going to Port Solent rather than our other large waterside leisure complex, which is Gunwharf Quays. 1, Port Solent is nearer to us, and 2, it's a bit quieter, which is a little bit better when you want to have a sedate moment.
The play park even boasts an artwork from our famous Pompey-based artist My Dog Size. So it was time to settle down to a movie and hopefully a decent night's sleep.
Right, well, we just got the knock from a couple of aficionados for the site. Apparently there's an agreement on with Port Solent today that there'll be a car meet here, and it's just asked us really to be off in 15 minutes because the car park by 10 o'clock will be completely full with custom cars, fancy cars, sports cars, all sorts of cars. So actually I wouldn't mind hanging around to see some of those things, being a bloke, see if Phoenix is interested. But after a nice quiet night, there is the gentle rumble of large engines already. So they're telling everyone to move to the next car park across, which I'm guessing will soon be full of motorhomes. So I'm going to try and get in there first and get a good place. But the trouble is, B's out with Sammy. Sometimes it's a half-hour walk, sometimes it's an hour, and her phone is in the motorhome, so I've got no way of telling B. So we'll move, and then we'll just have to keep an eye out for her and let her know where we are. So there we go. It's a good job we were up and dressed, otherwise that would have been a rude awakening. Okay, so we've moved the 100 metres or so across the car parks. Unfortunately, the guys running the show left the entrance rather narrow to get out of, and as I exited I could hear a tree scraping along the side of the stand piece. So let's go and see if we've managed to do any damage, shall we? Well, there was definitely some scraping, but I think we got away with it. I love custom car shows, and I always miss them. I never seem to see them advertised, and today I've woken up in the middle of one, so actually quite good. We just got to find B and Sammy, finish breakfast, and then we can take a wander over and look at some of these really cool cars.
And that was it for Port Solent, and then a couple of days later we were up in London at a swanky awards ceremony, thanks to our son being nominated for a Student Film Award. Sadly, he didn't win this award, but it was an excellent experience and we got to see quite a few celebs in the flesh. And of course we were very proud of him. Whilst we were there, in a strange act of science and nature, one of our balcony windows smashed, all over our patio and our trampoline. Naturally, we wanted to get it sorted as soon as possible, which meant I started sweeping up in my glad rags.
We've just got back from an award ceremony in London for our son. He did very well in a film festival. And whilst we were out, my parents, who were dog sitting Sammy, informed us that one of our balcony windows had shattered. Now, we don't know whether it's because it was the hottest day of the year. We don't know whether it was just because it was weak. But we've come back and they shattered. My mum, bless her heart, got a cut. It was all over the patio, and there's been some small pieces on the trampoline. So we're slightly concerned that we need to make sure that this is safe before our guests arrive in about 3 days' time. So as well as sweeping this thoroughly, I'm going to have to get on here with a vacuum tomorrow, and all children are banned until I've got that completely clear.
Then our dishwasher decided to pack up and started short-circuiting the house. So I call this the Lost Dishwasher Week, where Daz decided to film every stage of attempting to fix the dishwasher in the hope he could upload it to YouTube and make a really good video. Sadly, the fix didn't work and we had to get a different dishwasher. I think Daz has probably got some free time in 2035 and he can start his appliance fix YouTube channel. I'm sure you'll look forward to that. Another week, another adventure, and that means another Air BnB. Once the house was spick and span, we got on the road to Shaftesbury, a place Daz had in mind to film his review for an electric bike, which will also be on YouTube. I hadn't been to Shaftesbury since I was a child, but have vivid memories of recreating a famous bread advert, which apparently is Britain's favourite advert of all time. It was directed by Ridley Scott, epic science fiction film director, who was not only knighted, but also was appointed a Knight Grand Cross by King Charles this year. Shaftesbury was also used as a setting for the 1967 film adaptation of Thomas Hardy's Far From the Madding Crowd.
We're about 20 minutes from our destination now, and it is incredibly rural, but that does mean single lane tracks. He doesn't enjoy single lane tracks. I don't think anyone does. Yeah, you know when you've got white signs, white villagey signs, and no road markings, then it's going to be a tiny bit painful for a motorhome. This is one of the most wriggly roads we've ever been on. That last one was almost hairpin. This one not quite so much. Oh, yeesh. Yes, you're right to be out of breath, Sammy. That was scary. So we're about to wander into Shaftesbury. And look, this is my July attire. my July attire, a scarf and a jacket, and I still don't think I'm going to be warm enough. Where is summer? Well, no wonder Sammy was having a whimper in the motorhome. About 5 minutes walking, he then decides that it's time to evacuate right in front of a teenage boy who is sat minding his own business on a bench, and my goodness me, it was enough for 3 dogs worth. He was very good about it. And he said, at least you pick up, which is an important point.
Shaftesbury is 215 metres above sea level and is where Alfred the Great founded Shaftesbury Abbey in 888. It was destroyed in the Dissolution in 1539. This is the 12th century St Peter's Church right next to Gold Hill. The romantic Gold Hill has an enduring appeal, reminding us of days gone by and perhaps a simpler way of life.
Well, I haven't been back here since I was a child, and it's so pretty. And these cottages just behind me are all called really cute things like Button Cottage and Thatch Cottage and Thimble Cottage, and they're very cute, but look at the angle they're at. It's definitely very hilly, and if you go down it, you got to go back up it again. Sammy has voted with his feet. He's still ready to march around Shaftesbury, but it's definitely break time for us. So here is the beautiful Shaftesbury Abbey Museum and Gardens. Unfortunately, we've missed the boat. It closes at 4 p.m. and dogs are welcome. Loving how on lots of the benches and on picnic tables and things, we've got this very clever bit of tourist signage, bit of marketing. We've got Gold Hill wound into the S of Shaftesbury. Isn't that clever? All carved out of wood. I've seen that a lot in this little town. It is very pretty indeed. And I imagine everybody that lives in Shaftesbury is very fit, because there's no way you can avoid going up and down hills.
While we explored, Daz and our 14-year-old were busy filming their spoof of the bread advert, which you can see in full in his bike review video, which will be on our channel imminently. Here's a little sneak peek, warning it's very silly.
Last up on the round will be old B's place. It was like taking bread to the top of the world.
This is crazy.
We've made it to Bush's Farm campsite. Now this is a little gem. It allows dogs. We've got these lovely big spacious pitches. We're hoping just because we're overnight we can rely on the sunshine, so we don't need to charge things. And with the 3 kids and us, it's only £20 for the night. Really friendly owners. We highly recommend it. Well, we've managed some dinner, which was some leftover bolognese and some pasta pesto, but we left our tin opener at home annoyingly. We have a broken tin opener. We put our motorhome tin opener in the house so that the guests would have one, and we couldn't open our tins of sweet corn and peas, emergency motorhome vegetables of course, which meant that the dinner wasn't quite as healthy as I planned it to be, but at least there were a few onions in there, and of course a leftover bolognese, which is all lentily, so nearly healthy. We did try and eat outside as well, but it is freezing for July. So tonight, one of the Intrepid 6, that includes Sammy by the way, one of them is sleeping out in what he calls a basher with an A at the end, and this is a tarpaulin which is strung up, as you can see it's being strung up against Stampy, and then it's kind of a bit like a tent. Now he's done quite a few nights in the garden. He attempted last night but got a little bit soaked. I hope it's going to be a drier night tonight, but it's definitely not feeling like July weather. We might end up having him knocking on our door, but he's not a big fan of the motorhome, so we'll see.
we were really impressed with Bush's farm. They have the most friendly owners and their touring park is beautifully landscaped with pristine facilities, manicured lawns and hedges, and even a cute little fairy garden. The farm is next to a stables, and that was pretty intriguing for Sammy.
And don't fear, he's not missing out on anything in his nutrition. This is just another greyhound quirk. It's quite a common greyhound quirk. Lots of them like to eat long grass, but also lots of them like to eat the sticky weed, that strange plant that sticks to your clothing. Sunday morning, and I'm taking Sammy out for a walk just before we get to go back into our house after 4 days. I'm quite excited, and my kids were convinced that Dave was dead because we haven't seen him for ages, but he's heading this way now. He's heading this way, he's heading for me. Slightly scary. You coming over here, Dave? You alright? At least you're not dead. It's definitely you, isn't it? You look like you might have got a bit wet in the night, maybe. I can't complain about the view this morning, can we, Sam? My plans to go through the woods were scuppered by this chap. He says yay or nay. And we've just come across a 4-month-old puppy who was ever so friendly. Sammy was his usual aloof self, wasn't keen on the licking of the face. Oh, the more we stay in this campsite not far from our home, the more paths and little roads we discover, and they're absolutely delightful. I just didn't know they existed.
And we were home just long enough for Daz to make a planter, for me to prepare the house for the next B&B, and then we were back in the motorhome. And suddenly it didn't feel like fun. It was hard work. We weren't going anywhere as the kids were all in clubs all week, and cooking for the whole family every night in a tiny space felt like such a chore. I think you can see it in our eyes that we're exhausted from the disruption. Last year was fun. This year we had one child who hated it, and the added responsibility of cleaning the house and going in and out of the home constantly between bookings.
I just thought I'd switch on and share with you this sad moment. You probably can't see it, but our disgusting pink plastic wine glasses, one of them has smashed. So it's a sad time, but this is a new Friday tradition. If someone's booked in a house on a Friday night, we go and get noodles from up the road. Yay! We are alone in our campsite tonight. There is nobody else here apart from the sheep. So, and Dave the pheasant, he has been seen. He's still alive. We were worried he was dead, but he's definitely still alive. And we are now officially on the road for the next 10 nights. So we will try and take you along for some of that ride.
No, this isn't the set of EastEnders, and no, we haven't gone back in time to 1962. This is our local laundrette. I'm waiting for it to be listed.
So on this filthy day, I've got a load of washing that I need to get dry, and after being spoilt in France with the fantastic laundrettes that we had, here it's slightly different in the UK. So luckily the butcher's just up the road does change so that you can actually use the machines. There's no card operation here.
I was really struggling, and when a friend suggested the wheels had come off, I think she was right. We had been careering along at breakneck speed, and actually it wasn't a sustainable way of life. I didn't know if I could tolerate it until September. Things are looking up as we all gather at vegan camp out to worship Earthling Ed. I eat the best vegan Scotch egg ever. Daz worked his socks off. I enjoy the sunshine while the kids go on rides that are a stone's throw from our motorhome pitch. relaxing.